So in today's Warzone 2 video, I finally decided to do something that's been long overdue. If you guys have been watching this channel for a while now, you probably remember me doing Rebirth Island jump spot videos or Rebirth Island parkour videos, where I would basically go over all of the unique and useful jump spots slash parkour spots on Rebirth Island. Well, I finally decided to do that today for the first time ever on Ashika Island. The video is a little bit long, so I'm going to try my best to break down the video in different chapters. A lot of the spots in the map don't have names, so I'm going to try my best to describe it in the chapters. So feel free to skip to any part of the map that you may want to know more information about when it comes to jump spots. Feel free to let me know in the comments below any jump spots that I missed that you guys know. And with that being said, hope you guys do enjoy the jump spot tutorial. And as always, thank you guys for watching the video. For the first spot on our Ashika Island jump spot tutorial, I wanted to start at the bottom of the map near Beach Club. Now, there's not really that many jump spots on Ashika Island that much, nor is there that many here, but there is one at this specific building that I really do think is like an actual notable jump spot. So if you actually, a lot of times when you come over here, you notice that there'll be like somebody sitting up here, like a whole team sitting up there, you know, and they'll be like watching the staircase because you think that's the only way to get up there, right? But you can actually jump onto this umbrella right here, and from the umbrella onto this little ledge, from the ledge, and you can get over. So like if people are like hyper focused on the staircase and they're like right here looking at the stairs, or like right here and they're looking at the stairs, you kind of flank them a little bit if you think about it, you know. I'm pretty sure you can do like obviously the same thing from this side as well, if you actually hit it right. And you can easily kind of mantle your way up here and get an easy flank route on the people that might be baiting that staircase over there. Now, like I mentioned earlier, there's not really that many jump spots on Ashika Island, so I am going to be covering some of the ones that might be a little bit more blatantly obvious to most players. But I still want to cover these jump spots specifically because there are some good ones that some of you guys may not have noticed by playing Ashika Island and are actually pretty useful. So continuing on in Beach Club area, you guys all know this big blue building. A lot of people like to camp on the inside of it. There's the buy station right there on the side that also gets baited quite a bit as well. And if you're coming from the first jump spot that I showed in this video, over here in the sand water area, a lot of the times people will go straight up those stairs or straight up those stairs, which those staircases are safe sometimes, but they are baited quite a bit as well. So instead of taking those staircases, this is one of those obvious ones where you can kind of just jump on this rock right here and jump over, and you easily get to the top without having to take the staircases that are baited a lot. Now, another jump spot that is inside of the big blue building in Beach Club, this one is probably a little more useless unless you really enjoy camping or hiding. But what you're going to want to do is, if you take a look at the sign, you can actually get from the top of the sign onto this little wooden thing right there. And from the top of the sign and onto the wooden thing, you have a pretty good high ground advantage to anybody that like tries to sneak into the doorways on either side. I would say that this would be a pretty good spot to be if the final zone is on this blue building, which honestly it kind of is pretty often. Now, I've actually never tried this before, but it's looking pretty possible as I'm recording this. So if we actually jump from this wood thing onto this wood thing, I believe we should be able to get our way onto this little cement pole thing. It looks like you got to watch your head from this little ledge thing right here, but from the cement pillar, you can actually walk around it and get onto the little end of the boat thing that's right here. Again, this is a great way to push anybody that may be camping up here, because a lot of people probably don't know that there actually is a way to get up here. And of course, a little bit of an easier method to get onto this wooden thing in the middle of the building. You can jump on the fish tank, jump on the wall, and then you can get onto the wooden thing from that direction as well. Another little jump spot that I've noticed is you can actually get onto the tip of the boat from the other side, the side that we're on right now. If you jump onto the wet floor sign, onto this metal sign, takes a little bit to mantle it. You can mantle onto this building. Now, from this building, this jump is very tricky. I actually just did it for my first time while recording this. But from this building, you can jump, and if you hit it right, you can actually mantle on top of that thing. There we go. And of course, from here, you can get right back onto the wooden boat thing in the building and push anybody that's camping up here that may not expect you to jump up from where you were. Another jump spot that I have found over by the Beach Club area still. This one's a little bit more useless, but it does pay homage to some of the backwards strafe jumps that Rebirth Island had. Now, if you're on the roof of this building and you want to get downstairs, but you know that there's somebody baiting the stairs, imagine somebody being prone or crouched right here. They're watching the staircase, or maybe even right here, and they have their, you know, sights lined up at the door. You can actually get back up to the top of here, and if you want to enter the building in a different way, if you slowly walk backwards and as you fall push forwards, you can mantle into that window and kill anybody that may be baiting the door. Another small jump spot that is another way to get into that hallway without taking the doors or the stairs is you can stand on this handrail right here and mantle yourself into the window. You can also do it from that staircase as well if you time your jump properly. One small notable jump spot in this building as well is if you're on this little staircase and you want to get up without entering it from that direction or at the top of the staircase, you can just mantle yourself off of this handrail over the ledge right here Now, I'm not really sure if this other big building right here, the taller apartment looking building, is still considered beach club or not. There's not really that many points of interest on Ashika Island, but as many of you guys know, this big building is a very common place. A lot of people will sit up here and they'll watch like over the grass areas. Like a lot of loadouts will drop here and like they'll get baited by kids that are sitting on the roof of this building. But there is actually a way to enter the top floor of this building without taking the staircase door right there and without taking the zip line that's inside of the building at the bottom. And if you want to do this one's a little bit more valuable than the other backward strafe jump that I showed you guys, but all you have to do is just kind of line yourself up right here. You can kind of see the windows. Once you get the hang of it, you will be able to do this one pretty quickly. You just back up, and then as you fall, you push forward and you're inside of the building. Of course, you can also do it on the other side. I don't really like doing it on this side because a lot of the times there will be enemies on the hills up here, and it's very easy for you to get lasered if you are going to try it from this side. One last thing I do want to mention when I'm at this building, this isn't really necessarily a jump spot, but maybe just a way if you're low health to get away without actually dying to fall damage. If you are up here and somebody's pushing or more than one person's pushing and you feel like you need to escape quickly without opening your parachute, because as most of you guys know, the parachute does take a lot of time to actually, you know, get you to the ground. You can jump onto this red sign, from the red sign fall down onto this air conditioner, and then there you go. You won't take a sliver of fall damage, and if you get it timed correctly, you can actually make it work very, very well in your favor. I don't really have much to say about these little buildings over here. Most of the jump spots are pretty self-explanatory, but I do want to mention one thing about this particular building. A lot of times I'll notice players sitting in the corners of this room and waiting for enemies to come up the staircase, and you can easily flank those enemies by simply just jumping onto this, backing up a little bit. From the ledge, of course, you can get in here, kill anybody that might be baiting the staircase. The same rule applies for all of these little metal roofs right here. Of course, you do have to hit it from the side. Obviously, you can't hit it from the curved end. I just learned that. I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, you can get on the roofs of these buildings pretty easily from doing any of these jump spots onto the ledge that is not curved. Coming up next on the jump spot video, I do want to talk about this building on the map that is near Beach Club. I don't really think it's considered Beach Club. Maybe it's Town Center. I'm not sure. I call it the H building. As many of you guys know, there's only a few ways to get to the roof of this building: the staircase inside, the zip line in back, and the two ladders that are on the outside of the building. But did you know that there's multiple ways to get onto the roof without actually taking one of those ways that I mentioned prior? If you do want to get onto the roof, you can easily jump onto this car, from this car onto this metal roof here, and from this metal roof you can get onto this roof right here. From this roof, of course, you can jump onto these little things right here and over onto the roof, and there you go. Coming on to the other side of the building, you can't get to the roof from this route, but you can basically do the same steps I mentioned earlier. Jump onto the car, from the car onto the canopy, and from the canopy you can get into the second floor window without having to take the stairs or enter the first floor area. The first jump spot I mentioned in this video, of course, has multiple ways to get on it. From this window you can jump onto the canopy, from the canopy back onto the thing and onto the roof. It's another good flanking route to get onto the roof of this building. And of course, from the back side of the building, you can obviously parachute from the rocks onto the roof, but if people are watching those rocks very well, you can just jump off these rocks, parachute onto the back part, over onto these little things, and onto the roof of the building. And last but not least, another jump spot that I think is worth mentioning, you can actually get onto the roof of the building from the sign as well. Same steps as before, from the sign onto this canopy, from the canopy onto these things onto the roof, which is another great way to get onto the roof of this building. And an honorable mention that I do want to mention, since I am here right now, this is kind of useless, but it's kind of funny as well. If you're on the roof, you can jump onto this tree right here, and if you position yourself correctly, you can actually sit on the tree and go prone. It's pretty funny, I'm not gonna lie. Coming on over to this building, I believe it is called the Town Center. There's not really actually that many jump spots that you can hit on this building, but as most of you guys probably already know, there is this one to get onto the roof. From that little ledge, you jump onto the wood. From the wood, you can mantle this. From this, of course, you can get onto the roof. It's a great way to enter the roof without entering from this ledge over here or the door over there. And a lot of people, they will sit on this roof and camp, but a lot of them won't be watching this specific spot. Of course, another super simple one that all of you guys probably know, from the solar panels right here, you can jump onto this, and from this you can get onto the tall roof of this building. Same goes with the air conditioners right here as well. Like I said, most of you guys probably know this one, right? And of course, another way to get onto this roof is if you're over here, you can stand on this little ledge and kind of strafe yourself up here, mantle, and then mantle this, and you're on the roof as well. This one I don't really use that much because sometimes this mantle bugs out, but it is pretty useful to know if you're in a tight situation. And last but not least, on this same building that we've been going over for a little while now, you can get onto the roof from this side as well without taking that little slanted roof over there by simply getting onto the umbrella. From the umbrella, you can strafe yourself over to here, mantle, and boom, you're on the roof. And of course, you can get onto this roof as well from these air conditioners. The smaller building that's near town center does have one notable jump spot that I do want to mention. I've actually never really used this one in game because I don't spend that much time over here. But if you want to get onto the roof of this building without taking that ladder for some reason, you can get onto this rock right here, and from the rock you can mantle yourself onto the roof of the building. Of course, obviously you can get onto the roof of the building from this as well by getting onto the air conditioner, and then roof 2. And as I'm sure most of you guys know, you can obviously get on the roof of this building from this air conditioner and also that air conditioner. Moving on to the next area, this also does not have a name on the map, but I guess they're basically just the apartment complexes or the double apartments or whatever you want to call them. There's actually quite a few jump spots in these areas that some of you guys might not know about. The first one that I want to mention is the ability to get into that window without actually taking the staircase or parachuting in from a higher point on the map. You can do that easily by getting onto this wall right here, and from the wall you can mantle yourself onto this little ledge, from this ledge over to this ledge, and from the edge of this ledge onto the edge of this ledge. And now you can easily get yourself into the window of this building without having to take the staircase. So if there is somebody like baiting the stairs right here, you can easily kill them because they won't be paying attention there, or you can catch up to somebody that might be running down this way. Now, of course, something cool that you can do in these buildings is you can walk on this little ledge right here and go from one window to the other. It's a pretty good flank route for people that may not know that the flank route exists. And an honorable mention here is you can walk on these ledges on all the floors of these buildings. Just like the first jump that I showed in these apartment buildings, you can also do a similar jump on the other side or the other building, and that's easy just from jumping onto this wall right here. You can get onto the roof of this truck. From the roof of the truck, you can get onto here and do the same jump that I mentioned earlier. And of course, from the roof of the truck, you can also get right here as well. Now, earlier I was mentioning the honorable mention, and before I got rudely interrupted, I did want to show you guys one thing, so I'll show you guys now. Those ledges that I was talking about that you can walk on, it may seem useless on the one that I was giving the example on, but if you do it right here, you can easily get yourself, into the other staircase of the same apartment building by simply walking on these little ledges. And like I mentioned earlier, you can walk on those little ledges on every ledge on this entire building. This one's a little bit tricky because you will accidentally pull your chute a lot if you try it in a tight situation. There's an example of it working pretty well, except for me dying. And last but not least, the final jump spot I want to show at these apartment buildings, you can actually get onto the roof of the building right here without taking the stairs right there or on the other side. Pretty easy. You just jump onto the shelvings units, onto this little metal box, and then onto the roof, and you can gain roof access and kill anybody that's baiting the stairs up here. Now, there's not really that many notable jump spots at farms, but I couldn't make a jump spot video without including something in farms. So here's one that, I mean, you guys probably all know, right? You just jump onto the fence, and from the fence you get onto the roof of the building. Of course, you can do that on that fence as well. But yeah, there's not really like anything really worth noting for farms. If you guys have any ideas or anything that I'm missing here, feel free to leave a comment in the comments below, because other than like the super obvious ones, I can't really think of any other jump spots that are at this area of the map. Coming up on this random little area on the map that does not have a name, there's not really that many jump spots over here either, but if you do want to get on top of this metal box, it's pretty easy to do if you don't want to land on it. From this wall right here, you can strafe jump onto this and mantle this little ledge right here, and of course from this ledge you can just go right up onto the top of this. Now there is some loot up here, and I don't really see a reason as to why you would want to get up here unless the final zone's here and you want to outplay the enemies that are trying to like push you or whatever. And of course, coming off of this weird area right here, there is this house, which if you do want to get onto the second floor, it's pretty easy just by simply doing this. And of course there is this building as well. This one's also painfully obvious like the last. You just mantle right onto there. You can avoid the stairs and kill anybody sitting in the corners. Of course there's this house as well, onto the little water jug, onto the roof if you need roof access. And of course you can obviously do like a fence jump to the roof as well. So you see, there's not really that many cool jump spots in this compared to like Rebirth, man. Moving on up to this building, they actually added these flags with the season 3 update. I'm not really sure entirely what their point is, but of course to get onto the roof you can get onto this ledge right here. From this ledge you can go straight onto the roof, and it's a pretty nice way to flank anybody that might be sitting on the roof of this building. And if they're baiting the ladder, you'll be right behind them and you'll be able to beam them from here. From this roof, of course, you can jump onto this roof. This building that I'm currently in right now doesn't really have that many crazy jump spots either, but you can get onto the roof of this building from this handrail. But you have to make the jump off of one of these little pillar things that connect the handrail together. From the roof, of course, you can beam anybody landing in, or you can beam anybody, around the general area. Other than that, I don't really know of any other really notable ones in this building. Feel free to let me know in the comments if you guys have any more that are in this building particularly. And the moment that I'm sure a lot of you guys are waiting for is finally here. Suki Castle. Now, there's quite a few jump spots in Suki Castle. Most of them are blatantly obvious. I'm going to go over all of the ones that I use on a regular basis because, as some of you guys may know, I land at Suki Castle almost every game of this game that I play. Now, there are a lot of people that are inside the castle because the game did just start, so I'm going to start with some of the ones on the outer edges of the castle, some of the more basic ones. Obviously, you can get onto the fence, get onto the roof, yada yada. From this roof, of course, you can get onto the other roof. Shocker. Wow, crazy. All right, and there is a way to get onto the roof right there off of like the sign area without entering the building or whatever. You can kind of like, you know, shimmy your way up if you time your jump properly. I'm scared. If you time your jump properly, you can kind of shimmy your way up from there onto there. You can also do it on that side as well. If you do want to get from the lower roof onto the higher roof without entering the building and using that window right there, you can easily do it if you time your jump correctly from this tall part of the roof onto the lower part of the higher roof. This one's a little tricky to get down, but it does work, and it's pretty useful when you're trying to evade enemies, when you're getting shot at like I am right now. Since we are here and people are outside trying to kill me like maniacs, there is a way to get onto the second floor without taking the normal staircase routes. This one's pretty obvious, but you can get onto these shelves right here and mount yourself right over onto the second floor. Similar to the other jump that I showed, you can go from the high part of the roof to the low part of the roof right here on this side as well. And of course, from this outer edge right here, if you want to get onto this, you know, from this side of like the wall and not like from the inside of the wall, you can stand on this little podium thing right here and get yourself over onto the roof right here. A great flanking route if people are watching the ladder, because a lot of people, you know, will sometimes think that the ladder or those jugs are the only way to get up here, which is not true. Of course, similar to the jumps that I showed earlier, you can obviously get onto the roof from this high part right here if you really want to. You can just easily do that. So like there's a lot of like these little jumps that are like really obvious that like I don't really feel like I need to leave them in the video, but like since we're here, I decided like why not throw them in, you know. There is the obvious one, of course, from the lower roof. You can walk up that little ramp right there, get onto that roof, walk up that ramp, get onto that roof. I don't think I really need to visually show that, just kind of throwing that in there. Going on over to this building, as most of you guys know, this building tends to be a very ratty building, mid game towards end game. I don't really see that many people land here that often, but mid game and end game, this building is always ratty. Coming up with one of the obvious ones, you can get into the second floor window by doing these little jumps right here. Now the rest of the jump spots in this building are kind of painfully obvious. Obviously, if you want to get onto the roof from the second floor, you have these air conditioners right here to give you access. There's the other side of the building over here as well, which if you are ground level, it's pretty easy to get onto the roof without taking the stairs on the inside of the building. From air conditioner to metal thing to roof, metal thing, air conditioner, back up to the roof. Inside of the building, there aren't really that many jump spots in this area, but if you are outside, you can also get onto the second floor roof from this little box and this little canopy. And of course, if you really want to, from the trash can onto this canopy, from this canopy onto this into the second floor window. The final place on the map that I haven't really covered yet in the video, and the last part of this video, is the port of Ashika. Now, a lot of people don't really like going down here, myself included, and the only real time that I find myself down here is when the circle actually forces me to come down here. If you want to get to the roof of this building, as long as the glass is broken right there, you can get on top of this little air conditioner, and if you time your jump perfectly, you can get yourself onto the roof of this building right here, which is pretty useful to know, especially if the final zone is on this building. The rest of the jump spots in Port of Ashika are pretty self-explanatory, I'm not gonna lie. Like if you want to get onto the second floor of this building without using the stairs or ladder that's inside, you can just jump onto the air conditioners onto the roof right there. Not really a jump spot of it, but of course if you want to get onto the roof of this building, you can just parachute off the ledge that I was just on, or of course you can get onto these little, you know, container things and get that up there that way. Same with this container over here, obviously, and that air conditioning unit right there. Another jump spot over here that I do want to mention, obviously you can get onto the roof from the air conditioners and avoid the ladder if somebody's baiting the ladder. The mantle animation is a bit slow though. If you want to get inside this building right here without taking the stairs from the crate, you can mantle yourself into the window. This building is basically the same as the other buildings that are scattered around the Port of Ashika, with the same entryways to get onto the roof. And lastly, I think this is going to be the last jump spot of the video. You can get onto the roof of this building by simply just jumping onto the forklift, onto this roof, and onto this roof. And that basically sums up the Ashika Island jump spot video. Now, I made a couple of these for Rebirth Island, and I feel like Rebirth Island had a lot more notable jump spots. This map, although it does have jump spots, we obviously showcase quite a few in this video. It doesn't really have that many like hard to find / unique ones, you know, ones that you really need to practice and get down over time with. I still think Ashika Island is a great map, but I think it's missing a lot of the parkour aspects that made Rebirth Island so great. Because I'm not going to lie, most of the jumps that I did showcase in this video were pretty self-explanatory anyways, minus a few of them, of course. Let me know in the comments below how I did on my first ever Ashika Island jump spot video, though. I did this a ton on Rebirth Island, and a lot of you guys seem to like it, so I decided to do it on this map as well. It was a little bit long overdue, but I hope you guys did enjoy the video, and feel free to leave in the comments below any specific jump spots in specific areas that I may have missed. And as always, thank you guys so much for watching the video.